Hello, in this video I will go through a regular training week that I have. I keep them pretty consistent, so usually it's the same thing week over and week over. I had two different coaches in my relatively short running career, so I have tried a lot of different approaches on my own as well, and I found that this method works the best. I first tried the Norwegian method double threshold maybe a year ago, a year and a half ago. And now I had tweaked it a little bit. So now I have really fine-tuned it for my 10K and 5K training. So Monday is a double threshold day. I usually do the first session at lunchtime. If I cannot do it at this time, I do it in the morning, but I really hate running in the morning, especially quality sessions. So I usually try to do it at lunch. I do first 3K of warm-up, then I do 6 times 6 minutes if it's inside on a treadmill, or otherwise I do it 6 times 1.6K if I do it on a track. I always do quality sessions either on a treadmill or at a track. Never do them anywhere else. Because I want it to be precise and I want it to be consistent, and I know exactly how fast I'm going and how far I'm going. Between those intervals, I have 1 minute standing rest. I run the intervals at between 3:42 and 3:45 per kilometer. I've been told maybe I should run them a little bit slower, but I find that this works best for me. Then afterwards, I do a 2 kilometer cool down. Then the next session is usually right after work, but before dinner. I start off with 3K of warm up as in the first session, and then I do 10 times 3 minutes if I'm on a treadmill, or 10 times 800 meters if I'm at a track. And I run this at 3:37 per kilometer. And I need to point out that if I do these sessions on a treadmill, I have to go at least 10 seconds per kilometer faster than I do on a track because of the air resistance that is not there if you run inside. So 3:27 at least for the second session. I also end this one with a 2K cool down. I need to mention that, strangely enough, the second session usually feels easier than the first one. I don't know why. On Tuesday, I don't run, but instead I do indoor cycling on my Swift bike. I cycle for 90 minutes at around 225 to 230 watts. This is the mid to low zone 2 for me, so it's quite an easy session. Then on Wednesday is the hardest session of the week. It's my VO2 max session. And like the threshold session, I do this also either on a treadmill or at a track. I really prefer to do this one at a track though, because then I know really how fast I can go. Treadmill, you never really know for sure exactly how fast you're going because of the missing wind resistance and so on. So first I do a 3 kilometer to 5 kilometer warm-up, depending on how much I feel I need to run. Then the session starts. I do 6 times 1,000 meters or 6 times 1 kilometer. And I try to run as fast as I can in those intervals, but having in mind that I also need to be running as fast on the last interval as I do on the first. So not to run them too slow, not to run them too fast in the beginning. And that's usually around 3:12 to 3:17 per kilometer. Then between the intervals, I have 3 minutes of walking and jogging rest. So I usually run or jog 400 meters in those 3 minutes. Then afterwards, I do a 3K cool down. This session is the hardest, like I said. I am often nervous going into this one because I know how much it's going to hurt, especially the fifth and the sixth interval. The last 500 meters or maybe 400 meters of those feels like the last 500 or 400 meters of a race, of a 5K race. It's really uncomfortable during those last intervals, and I really don't look forward going into this one. But this is the only session throughout the week that I feel I need to push myself. The other ones feel very easy. On Thursday, I have a long run. It's 22 kilometers, and I keep it at a pace 4:30 to 4:40. Um, I don't run any further than that because I don't feel it's necessary training for the 5K or 10K. If I would be training for a marathon, of course, I would be going much longer in my long run, but 22K is good enough for me. I do it often outside, but sometimes I do it on a treadmill. If I do it outside, I try to keep it as flat as possible because I don't want to put extra strain on my body running uphill or downhill. Then on Friday, I have 10 kilometers easy, and it's the same pace as for the long run. It's 4:30 to 4:40. And nothing more to say about this one. It's just an easy session. Then on Saturday, I do exactly the same routine as on Monday, a double threshold day. And then on Sunday, I do exactly the same easy run as I did on Friday, a 10K easy run. And that's my week. If I should rank the different sessions in matter of importance, I would say that the double threshold days are by far the most important sessions throughout the week. Then it's the VO2 max session. Then it's the long run, and then it's the easy session, and the cycling session is maybe the least important one, but I keep it there because I want a day off from running, but I still like to keep my fitness level up. And also, as you might know, I will go into cycling maybe 6 months from now, and I don't want to lose that entirely, so I want to keep up the cycling a little bit as well. As you can see in the schedule, I have no rest days. So do I never rest? Well, yes, I do. First of all, I do rest before a race during the tapering phase, and I do rest maybe one day after a hard race to recover. But during these normal training weeks, I never plan rest days. But I do take them if I need to. But that's not often. That's not often. If I'm really sore after a hard session, I take a rest day. If I have a fever, high temperature, I take a rest day, of course. I would never run if I have a fever, but so far during my whole running career, I had never had a fever. I have had slight colds, but I run anyway. The only thing that stops me from a health standpoint, so on, is if I have a fever. Otherwise, I run. So I seldom take a rest day outside of the race component of it. Maybe 1 or 2 rest days per month, but that's it. No more. As can be seen in this chart towards the bottom, I do over 1/3 of my total kilometers as tough kilometers, you can say, threshold pace or VO2 max pace, and I do about 2/3 at easy pace. And this is somewhat more than is recommended. I heard 20/80, and many people try to follow that. But I think this works best for me when I train for 5K and 10K. I used to be running less quality sessions and more easy sessions before, and I ran 140 to 160 kilometers per week, but I think that this works better for me. And I also think that injury risk goes down if I keep it this way. So all in all, a little bit more than 110 kilometers per week and 90 minutes of cycling in zone 2. Now, if you look at the calories that I burn throughout the week, it's more than 10,000 extra, and I have a base metabolism of around 1,900 per day. And then, of course, I walk to the office. That is about 4 hours of walking a week, maybe. So I burn a lot of calories. It's important for me to eat a lot of calories, therefore. And that can be hard on some days, but I like eating, so there's no problem. But I do need to keep a little bit of track of my calories, not so I eat too much, but to keep me from eating too few calories. That's the main problem. And one important thing, it's better to eat some healthy food and some junk food, just as long as you keep your calories up to the amount that you use. That's better than eating only healthy food but eating too few calories. So junk calories is better than no calories, unless you go over the amount of calories you use, of course. So this is a regular training week for me. The only really hard session is the VO2 max session. The other ones I look forward to.